or as an elected position or volunteering in your community. And today what we wanted was a nice conversation for us to have regarding topics and things that are going on in our communities that we represent. It'll be a nice open forum. We'll moderate it a bit so it doesn't get too crazy, which I don't think it will today. And we'll have a great afternoon of conversation. I'd like to take the opportunity to first introduce my staff. Suzanne Ravey is our Director of Finance. She takes care of our members with their benefits and health insurance, and she's been with the Chamber almost 30 years, so we're happy to have her on staff. She takes care of all the details and everything, so we're very appreciative of all her work. And Susie Reinhardt is our Executive Assistant. She's been with us over a year and a half, so we've kept her this long. Hopefully we'll keep her a little bit longer as well. We also have members of our Board of Directors here. Our Chairman, Matt Villeneuve, he leads our Board of Directors. Matt, say hi. Hopefully everybody knows who Matt is. Matt has several businesses as part of the Chamber of Commerce. He runs MVIT, Lewiston Digital, and he also has a retail shop on Center Street called Trade Parade. So it's wonderful to have a chairman that has his hand in a little bit of everything. He helps guide our Board of Directors and helps carry out our strategic plan. So Matt, we appreciate everything that you do for the Chamber. We also have 3 other board members here. Frank Campbell with Niagara Charter Service. Where he is, Frank, yep. Aaron Day with Story Nation Corporation. And Jim Vitani with Vitani Architecture and a Village of Lewiston trustee elect. So we just had that election this week, so congratulations, Jim. We also are represented by several elected leaders in the room today, so just wanted to take a moment to introduce them, and then we'll have lunch and have some great conversation. So we'll start with the Village of Lewiston. Our Mayor, Ann Welch, is here, so we appreciate everything that you do in hosting us here in the Village. The Chamber is able to have our office in Academy Park, and if you haven't seen lately, Academy Park is going through a tremendous transformation. Right behind our building is a beautiful mural. Maureen Kellick, a local artist, has been working on that every day. This morning she started very early because, 90-degree weather, she didn't want to get caught in that. But lots of things happening in the Village. So we appreciate you, Anne, for being here today. Also from the town of Lewiston, we have Supervisor Steve Broderick here. There it is. I didn't get a scan of the room first to see, along with John Jacoby, our councilman from the town as well. And Sarah Wechter, as well, from the town of Lewiston, our councilwoman. We also have the town of Porter represented today. We have our supervisor, Duffy Johnston, here, as well as town of Porter councilman Larry White. From the village of Youngstown, we have a few here. Catherine Stella, who attends our meetings quite often, Rick Stortecki and Rob Bryson, they're all together. So coming from the village of Youngstown, thank you for attending today. Our New York State Assemblyman Angelo Morinello is here along with Eamon. And our New York State Senator Rob Ort, along with Andrew. Rebecca Widdish will be here. She's on her way. She had some contractors at her house. She said, I'll be there late, and if she's not here, then something was held up. So when she arrives, we'll make room for her. I want to take the time to honor and thank our sponsors for today's luncheon, Bella Rose Vineyard and Winery. And the owner of Bella Rose is here today, Michael Schweitzer. If you haven't been to Bella Rose, it's located just 2 miles outside of the village of Lewiston, and it's a young winery, and we're so happy to have one just within the village limits. It's within the town of Lewiston, and if you haven't been there, just straight out on Center Street, take a ride there. Also, Joe Ciccone Chrysler Complex is also one of our sponsors today, and the president, Mike Jensen, is here today, so we thank you for for making sure that we're supported. And Joe Sacotes has been a partner of the Chamber, helping us with everything from some of our events, with the Harvest and Hops Festival, as well as the Jazz Festival, so we appreciate everything that they do. And also Michael Ragusa with Vision Financial Group. Michael is one of our top tier members of the Chamber of Commerce, and we appreciate the time that he takes to come to all of our events. So thank you so much to those sponsors to help out today. We also appreciate our member, Rich Maranto, with Emerge Creators and Maranto Media, who assists us with our sound. He also helps us out every week with our podcast. We have a Support Local Everything podcast that we do weekly. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, let us know. It's very easy conversation. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but Rich makes me look good every week and makes our guests look good as well. He just moved into a new location on Maryland Avenue, just off of Hyde Park. So if you're interested in a podcast or any other creative services, Rich is your person. So we're just going to wait for the food to come out, and we'll call the tables. Enjoy conversation around your table. The format will be, we'll have some lunch, we'll move that along, and then we have some questions to start and some prompts as well. The conversation is going to be amongst all of us, so everyone has an opportunity to contribute. We're not putting elected leaders on the spot here, but they are here in order to listen to you, listen to our leaders in our room, and also contribute should they have an answer or a solution to some of the things that you're facing. So we're looking forward to that afternoon, and after, when you're leaving, please take something off that table. There's mugs, there's glasses, there's pins, there's a little bit of everything, so help yourself on the way out. In the meantime, have some great conversation. There's some soft drinks over in the corner and some coffee and tea as well, and we'll get the tables going. Thank you. So really what this will be is a nice conversation on several different topics that affect our chamber, affect our communities that we all represent. And it's a way for our chamber board of directors and our elected leaders to find out what is on the mind of our members and to find out what is on the mind of the communities that our members represent. And to see where we can grow, where we can face some of the challenges, and maybe even expose some of the challenges that we have and see collectively how we can make them better. So, with that, we'll start. By the way, if you've never been to the Niagara Crossing Hotel and Spa here, they've undergone a major transformation over the past year. The lobby downstairs was completely redone, and they now have a nice bar. You can sit, order some appetizers. So we're very grateful for them to host us today. It's been really nice to be able to come back to the Niagara Crossing and have events here. Just the start of some things to come. Okay, so with this format, some of the things that we're looking at are elements of a vibrant economy. So to us, the competitive business climate is part of a vibrant economy. It's a place to do business that is affordable, predictable, ripe with incentives for growth, a place where small businesses can start, thrive, and grow, a place where regulatory obstacles do not interfere with private sector job growth. We also see it as a robust private sector environment that works in partnership with the public sector to spur innovation and produce collective problem solving, as well as look for strategic process for recruiting new employers to locate in Niagara County and strengthening existing businesses. So those are things that we're looking for elements of a vibrant economy and working towards to reach as part of the chamber. So in this concept, I'll give the microphone over to Susie, and she'll take this over. I'll give you the first question, and if you have an answer to it, please raise your hand. Susie will take the microphone to it, and you can expand on your answer. You don't have to, but we'd love to keep this conversation going. The first one is, everyone has felt the squeeze regarding inflation. It affects all aspects of business, from operating costs to what consumers are buying. How would you describe the business climate so far in 2024? Very thought-provoking one, because there's a lot of discussions that can happen around that. Nobody jump all at once. We'd love to keep this conversation going regarding this climate. It's a tough climate for our small businesses and our members to do business in. One of the things that is a driving force behind our small business is tourism. And now we're at the start of tourism numbers. A lot of our retail places are noticing some decline in spend. A lot of our dining and hospitality businesses are noticing a decline in finding workforce to help in the hospitality. So that's where we're starting this conversation to go, and it looks like our senator has the floor.
No one else is going to go, I guess I'll just go. The business climate, I guess I'll say in the community, but I'll even say statewide and maybe even nationwide. I can tell you in New York, it is not great. It is not great. It just is not. I know there may be people in this room who you see signs of positivity, you see signs of growth, or maybe some change. But I will tell you, at least legislatively speaking, and as I talk to employers around the state, around Western New York, for every one positive, there seems at least an equal one step back or two steps back. Some of that are global forces. Hiring remains an issue. Finding people to, I think there has been a demand for a lot of different companies, whether you're in the hospitality sector, whether you're in the logistics sector, whether you're in healthcare, biomedical, or what have you. But I think that there's been definitely a challenge finding people to be able to fulfill all the needs and orders of your would-be customers or clients. That has, of course, impacted cost, meaning what you pay employees, because it's certainly, we know employers are paying more, and while that's a positive, that certainly affects their overhead and what they're able to do and their profit. Every company that exists in the chamber and around Western New York and New York, believe it or not, exists to make a profit. There is no company that exists to hire someone. That is not why you go into business. You want to hire good people so that you can make that profit. That's how you get there. But the motivation to own a business is to earn a profit so that you can provide a great life for you and your family and have your piece of the American dream. That is it. And there are a lot of people out there who I think lose that narrative or that thread, or they fail to understand that no matter what the size of your company, you are not there to hire someone. That is not your purpose for existing. And that's okay. That's okay to acknowledge that. That is not a sin or a crime. But I think in New York, when you look at, because whether you're in Western New York or not, you're in New York State. This is an expensive state to do business. It's an expensive state when it comes to healthcare. If you're a developer, to build something in New York is extremely expensive. If you're a home builder, it is way more expensive to build a home or a series of homes in New York than it is in other states. That's a fact. Now, we can sit there and say that there's benefits to that. Maybe there are somewhere, but it is more expensive. And of course, if you're here, very often you're competing against businesses, sometimes outside of New York State, who do not have to deal with all the overhead costs, the regulations, the taxes. And then I worry about things we talk about in Albany that has a chilling effect on the business climate. So even if they're not law, as they are discussed, businesses pay attention to these things. And investors and developers will say, you know what, I may not expand that extra facility in New York because they're talking about limiting my ability to get natural gas, which means I would have to build an entire electric building, and there's going to be a much more significant cost for that. And so I'm going to hold and maybe build that facility in Indiana, or in Pennsylvania, or in Texas, or in Tennessee. And I could go on and on. It's not anecdotal. That is really happening. We very often in this room will talk about businesses who leave. We forget all the businesses that never come. And don't think that that's not a loss, because we have a big workforce here. We have a talented workforce here in a lot of ways. And they don't always get the opportunity for the growth that we should have in this state with our talent pool, with our labor force, because of some policies. And that's why many of you know somebody that has gone to another state, because the employer has gone to the other state or expanded in a different state, and there's just more opportunity. So I think that's always a concern here, is the cost. But that cost now is trickling down, I'm sure we'll talk about that, to other areas of your life, grocery shopping, energy usage, gas prices, childcare. All these things, you know, compound. It's not one thing, it's a lot of things. And they affect your employees, they affect you, they affect your customers. And so any little increase in your cost, people notice, people complain about, people are upset about. And so that's just a challenge, I think, in New York State. It's probably an issue across the country, but I think in New York, which is already one of the high-cost states, it's just more acute. And here in Western New York, where incomes are more limited by comparison, it's even more acute because your dollar just doesn't go as far.
Thank you, Senator. I'm going to ask, I am going to put somebody on the spot today. I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to ask our chairman, and if he could also expand upon, before we get to Angelo, our chairman owns a retail store on Center Street, and we recently just had a major festival happen, and the nice thing about having a chairman who's a little bit in IT and marketing, and also owns a retail store, is he's able to help gauge small businesses. And all of our communities have small businesses on our main streets, and we want to keep them there. So, Matt, if you could expand on the business climate that you're seeing so far in 2024 as to what the trend is, and maybe some ideas can be spurred in this room on how the chamber can help going forward.
Sure. Yeah, so I did start what I do is digital marketing, but I did start a retail store on Center Street a few years ago. It was kind of a pet project, kind of primarily a place for my teenage daughters to go work and kind of learn business and, get out of their shells a little bit and learn how to interact with people in a better way. And mission accomplished with my oldest daughter, but what I will say, and I agree with everything that was said, with inflationary pressure specifically, you learn. I never worked in retail in my life, but once in a while I do a shift in the store, and you learn to read people when they come in, and you can tell if that person is going to buy something, right? At least I used to be able to tell. Now people they do a complete 180. They think, they put stuff back on the shelves. They say how they try to talk themselves into buying things. And I sell things like, candles and luxury bath items and stuff like that. So it's not stuff you need. You can go to, Bath and Body and get your 5 for whatever they give you every time and your coupons or whatever. But what I'm finding is people of a higher income level are doing that when they used to come in my store. So their dollar is going, not as far. And they're making choices, probably buying groceries and, more important things than my fancy soaps, right? But what I would also say is, I talk to the other people on Center Street here, and it's so convenient, just being involved in the chamber to get that direct feedback. And another thing I've been looking at lately, almost obsessively, is visitor data, geofence visitor data. And what I find is you can draw a direct line between how many people were in a geographic spot and what your sales were, right? So what that means is my customers are not from Lewiston, which makes a lot of sense. There aren't a lot of people who live here, and I have regular customers, sure, but how many am I actually going to have? So we really depend on those visitors, and and they're coming from drivable distances, So from a marketing perspective, I kind of see where that has to go. But other business owners are, kind of down in the dumps. They're seeing the same things with that buyer hesitation, and just not knowing what to do. The good ones are reinventing themselves. They're doing events, they're doing lessons, they're trying to do other things than just retail, because retail is really hard. And like I said, out-of-state pressures are a real thing, including online. There isn't much you can buy in my store that you can't just get on Amazon, right? So, it's a real thing and truth be told, like I've almost committed to closing my store because you start looking at, I mean, I was down 22% last year. So far this year, 33%. And we just had a festival this weekend, and I had 15 total sales the whole weekend, right? So those aren't good signs, and the writing's kind of on the wall, so the whole no-bull, teach your kids how to interact with people thing, it's starting to get expensive. So we're going to have to find a different way of doing that. But you know, somebody who does marketing, I also see this with my marketing clients who are having a need to find new customers because the demographics they always appeal to are no longer a sure thing. So we have to get a little bit creative, and then competition is getting higher as well. You know, so for me, when I look at Main Street type businesses, like the really small stuff, I think those are the most vulnerable ones. You know, there's one store owner who he told me before I opened my retail business, and he's like, if I ever had to hire an employee, I would just have to close. It wouldn't make any sense, right? Which goes to the thing, like you don't have to hire people because sometimes you actually can, you know. So, you know, it sounds like a lot of doom and gloom, but I'm actually, in obsessively looking at numbers, I'm actually kind of encouraged by some changing trends in terms of our visitors and where they're coming from. And when you look at some of the, what I would call like anchor businesses that are popping up, like, you know, breweries and things like that, where people will come from, you know, Buffalo suburbs to visit breweries in Niagara County, that's really cool. I think Lockport has some really cool things going on right now too, in terms of investment, and they describe it as a renaissance, we'll see, but I'm pretty excited about stuff going on out there as well. So there is a lot of good stuff going on. I just think business communities have to learn that to work together and depend on each other and collaborate, because you can't all kind of be against each other or have infighting and things like that, which is something you see, right? You really got to work together, and I appreciate what our chamber does in trying to be that entity that convenes people and leaders and things like what we're doing today. So, so the good news is I have some optimism. The bad news is probably going to have to stop selling candles in Lisbon. But you know, you can just order them online, so it's fine. Which it'll be a sad day, but I think that's coming down the road. But yeah, that's kind of my experience. It's just been kind of not going really well, and you know, I think people just have to start getting creative.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that information. It helps the chamber kind of lead and see where we can put some more focus. It's been great to have some data, working with Matt, data for our board of directors. We started with that last month, and we'll have more data giving to our business associations next week, and this will help them kind of plan to keep small business alive. The chamber also is behind an initiative, Support Local Everything, and it's so important. And we will be driving this home all year long, because without our small businesses that are lining our main streets in our communities, not just Center Street, Main Street in Youngstown, in Wilson, all of these smaller communities, we need them, and all of that money stays in that community. So we need to continue that Support Local Everything trend, and making sure that we have these conversations with our businesses to find out what is, you know, what's keeping them up at night. Assemblyman, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I want to thank the UpwardNiagara Chamber for putting this together. I was going to speak what Matt just said. What the change is, after COVID, people were afraid to come out. And so the demographics have changed, as Matt has said. And what I want to do is I want to compliment Jen for putting together a regional chamber. And I think that's going to be the way that we have to focus, as Matt said. Lewiston itself has always been a center core, but now with Youngstown and Wilson, and we really have to start looking at how can Niagara Falls be part of this without being an impediment, because the draw truly is the falls. And I can see that that is increasing, but how do we get that to translate into helping the different areas? The one thing that we have going that I think has been a benefit is the Discover Niagara shuttle, which is the hop-on, hop-off, no-cost shuttle, funded by bed tanks. So technically, a tourist comes, they're prepaid for their transportation. And it's not a hidden cost because they know it, but it's moving them through. They can now get to Lockport. So there's incremental improvements that are out there. But as Matt said, everyone needs to work together. The mindset and demographics of the challenges that my colleague Senator Ort said, dealing with the nightmarish regulations of New York State, adds to the factor that other states don't have those massive regulations. But what I see is this: I see communities locally that have the ability to survive. And what we have to do is, I know Niagara Falls has always talked about, we need attractions, we need Ferris wheels, what we need to do is focus on our natural beauty. And during COVID, Niagara Falls and this region did better than anywhere in the country because their mantra was wide open spaces, trails in the gorge. And it was amazing when I walked down in Niagara Falls during COVID, and I'd see people from Brooklyn, from the Bronx coming here because they felt we had a healthier environment for them to be in. So what I'm leading to is this: we have something that they don't have anywhere else in the country. And I think if we focus on bringing that, we may bring a different demographic of traveler coming to our area. Because if you offer the same as every other community, as every other state, and with the cost of gasoline, the cost of travel, cost of inflation, they're going to go to where they can get to with the least expense so they have some disposable income. And I feel that if we all focus on the natural resources we have beautiful parks, we have the gorge, we have the river. And with climate change, all the reports for the last few years have said that this corridor of New York State will be the key place that people need to live. There's natural air conditioning coming down from Canada across the river and the lake. We do have other natural resources. So what we have to do is figure out, how do we compete when we live in a state that is 50th out of 50 in taxes and 48th out of 48 in the business climate? We can't ignore that fact. So we have to figure out, how do we become more innovative to overcome that? But Matt, you are right on. And Jen, putting everybody together as a region has been magnificent. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Do we have anybody else who would like to expand on that with the current business climate and how they feel with their business before we move on? I want to make sure we give everybody the opportunity to have a chance to speak. The next task that we want to address is tourism. Oh, never mind, I almost cut you off, John. Go ahead.
You're good.
Actually, John,
yes.
just introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm John Cooper, Jr. I'm the executive director of the Niagara Gospel Mission, which is a homeless shelter and recovery center in Niagara Falls. We have about 125 beds for men, and Jennifer's actually on one of our committees to help build a women's shelter as well. So, all that said, that's who I am. But one of the things I wanted to add just on the business climate thing is, obviously we're not a business, but one of the hardships we have is taking guys who, they may be homeless, but the average homeless person costs the taxpayer $30,000 a year. So that's your $30,000 a year employee who's walking down the streets in Niagara Falls, and we bus people from all over kind of Western New York trying to help out other organizations, but trying to motivate that person to not live off of that assistance and go get a job. And the jobs that are available for them are, they're not going to make more. I literally have that conversation almost every day. They are not going to make more money working than they are being on the government assistance. So not advocating, obviously, for all government assistance to go away, but most of our counseling, most of my counseling is trying to say you're going to find a lot more fulfillment in this, getting a job, and we're trying to build a job skills training program there for guys. But how does the room, I guess, suggest trying to take someone and say, okay, you're going to make less money, but coming to our business to work, or we'll train you for the skills, soft skills, however that is.
Well, hopefully there's a resource in this room that can help meet with you after and discuss, how you can grow, and that's what this is for. So conversations we want to keep going. I could go into a few different directions. I was going to lead into tourism, but I think what you just shared with me, John, with everybody here is very important, because not only do we have a business climate that we have to be on top of and make sure we're providing for our member businesses, but we also have nonprofit organizations in the room, and there's a few of them. So I hope whoever is here from the nonprofit, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but there's some here, that you can share what it is, what are the needs for that. So part of this, and I had a question regarding this, I just have to find where it was, creating new solutions, empowering positive change for everyone in our community requires that we seek out new paths and new partnerships wherever we can, and hopefully that happens here. We do have some of the nonprofits here in the room today, and can any of our nonprofits share some of your needs? So not only are we looking at business climate, but we're looking at nonprofit and some of the needs that you have, because they are very different than what Matt or any of the other businesses are facing. So I'll take an opportunity for anyone, if you're a nonprofit, there's 4 of them that I know of right now in the room. If you can share what some of the needs would be for your organizations, perhaps we can create a partnership today. And Andrea, if you can just introduce yourself.
My name's Andrea Gray. I'm the president of United Way of Greater Niagara. Thank you so much, Jeff, for having me here today. So for us, we have a couple needs that really come to the surface. Of course, it's funding, always. As any nonprofit knows, we're constantly looking for new ways to get new donors and to engage with donors. More importantly, too, though, for us, is awareness in the community. United Way, a lot of people know the name, but they don't exactly know what it is that we do, what we focus on. And we just changed our mission to focus on youth development. So really getting that out into the community and creating awareness and partnerships with other agencies, in addition to those that we fund financially, is something that we're constantly looking to do. So, financial needs, of course. Another challenge that we have seen, and I'm sure this goes for a lot of people, is the way that people give nowadays. Tapping into younger generation of donors is a challenge for us, because a lot of people have a lot of avenues that they can go to. There's GoFundMe pages for everything. So really it's trying to get a younger generation of donors to get on board with what we do, what our mission is, and to get them engaged with not only us, but the community as a whole. So those are a few challenges that we see. They also create a lot of opportunity for us with our new focus. We're looking to do things differently. One of the things we're doing is putting little libraries throughout the community with free books for children, and these books are diverse books, so it's to reach all children in the region. So something like that, while not financially bringing money to the agency, it's more awareness, are things that we look to do to try to, again, reach that goal of getting out in the community. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you so much, Andrea. Any other nonprofits? Bob?
I'm Bob Emerson from UpwardNiagara, and just an example of where something that's been incredibly useful to the fort over the past year has been a couple of programs administered by state parks. One was called Connect Kids, The other one was Ladders to the Outdoors. And as a result of these programs, what these programs do is eliminate costs for schools to visit the fort or any other educational attraction in the region. They eliminate transportation costs, they eliminate the admission fees. We still get paid, but the programs pay for those things. Well, they've both been suspended. And the result of those last year was we doubled our school attendance at the fort. We went from 6,000 kids to 12,000 kids in 2023. So they've been incredibly valuable to us. They've been incredibly valuable to the kids that come to the fort and get a great educational experience. And we don't know why or when the programs will be reintroduced, but they say they're suspending them pending reevaluation. But these things they're important, and they've been a big help, not only in a revenue source for the fort, but also given these kids, particularly from disadvantaged school districts, an opportunity to come out and have a great day and learn a lot about history. So that's one of our concerns, is these programs that have been suspended, we don't know when they're coming back. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. David?
Hi, I'm Dave Wiedekin. I'm the interim president of our park. What Bob just said, we're living the Ladders to the Outdoors and Discovery funds have impacted us for sure this world too when you just got into the program. So I hopefully that can be restored. I just wanted to comment, what we're also seeing is a great change in the philanthropy of the foundations, and sponsorships are shifting too. One thing we've noticed, just one example, the Oshai Foundation, major supporter in this community, has said we're not supporting arts programming anymore because we put our focus on to what happened. Sad result of what happened at the Tops in Buffalo, and the shooting in Postad, and now a lot of foundations are shifting their focus into supporting these inner city communities and food deserts and all the other endemic issues that are going on there. It's a very noble cause, but then where does it leave the arts on the other side of this? And the same thing is happening with corporate sponsorship and philanthropy as well. As we talk about lower profits for companies, shifting priorities there, less business, the struggles they're having. Well, the first thing to go is the sponsorship budget too. So we do rely, we're thankful we have what we have, but I will say it is definitely getting harder to grow it. So certainly any ideas we can put in that would be great benefit. Thank you.
I think John?
Well, the other three went, so I'll go too. So we just, this past month, had to extend our shelter by 21 beds because we were turning away, because of spacing, we were turning away a lot of people. But we, again, as Noe said, the donations haven't gone up, so obviously funding is an issue, but also staffing, like everyone, staffing is the big issue. And you get 21 more people that you're taking in off the street, and you maintain, the same staffing from a 24-bed shelter to now a 40-bed shelter and some other stuff. So, yeah, it's just that those are challenges that we have at the Niagara Crossing Mission. One thing to talk positive though is that we feel like if you look at history, when communities make a turnaround, it's when they're the most hopeless, and they realize that it's now time to make a turnaround. Our vision statement is rebuilding Niagara Falls by transforming one soul at a time, starting with the poor. And so it's just giving and infusing that hope into people, and we've seen it work. But we're trying to rethink our entire way of doing shelter as not just a place to stay, but a place where if you're not going to make moves, you can go somewhere else. This is a place where you're actually going to flip your life around. But it's tough if you don't have the funding and the staffing to do it. Then you can't do it. It's just kind of the way it is. So those are challenges I think that anyone is facing. That we're excited. Maybe it's just because I'm young and dumb, but we're excited about it. So thanks.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Wendy from sorry, I'm taking the floor again, but I just want to say also, like, going into a positive direction, we were really fortunate that government stepped up this year to help the arts and cultural organizations. We came together as a coalition, and the Niagara County legislator supported us for the first time, and it was pretty extraordinary, and we are really grateful as we head into the next year of the budget, and hoping that we will be able to report positive results to the government. And with so many government officials in the room, I would invite you to consider all of us as something that is worthy of your time and investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other nonprofits would like to speak? Maria?
Hi, I'm Maria Fortunadine. I'm the Executive Director of the Lewiston Council on the Arts. I just want to say it's wonderful to be part of this conversation, and I really applaud everyone for coming together, because I think that is the way forward, that we have to work together. A rising tide lifts all boats, and certainly the arts mean business, to coin an old phrase. And the more that we can become a destination, as you were saying, there's a reason that people come to this area, and then they spend money, yeah? And it improves quality of life, improves the community here. And I just encourage us all to go forward, and even though there's negative things that are happening, to really speak as positively as we can of this area. I know exactly the gentleman that you're referring to that said, oh, about hiring one person, because he says it all the time to whomever will listen. And that's okay if that's his reality, but we have to put a positive thing out there, because positive attracts people, and we have something that's unlike anywhere else in the world. And I'm not just talking about the natural environment, it's the people who live here. I lived away for 20 years, I lived in Los Angeles, was very grateful to be there, taught at UCLA. My community had not one privately owned business. Everything was a chain. There was no personality, nothing that was unique about it. I was so thrilled to be able to come back here, because there's no place on earth like this. And let's just really send a positive message to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Some great things are coming to this area. I have the opportunity to chair the Niagara Area Foundation. I had the Ralph Wilson Foundation in my office last week, and a 2.5-hour meeting, and I'm looking forward to all of the great things that are coming. There's some support coming to this region. I serve as an ex officio of the Community Foundation of Buffalo, and I know that philanthropy, it's where it's at, and we're doing as much as we can to make sure that Niagara County is being seen. And Rebecca must have been caught up. She had people at her house, but Rebecca is behind the Niagara County support for all of the nonprofits, and such a monumental thing that happened this year. We're very excited about things to come in the future. Thank you. The next part we're talking about is a little bit of tourism, because our regions that we represent here are focused on tourism, and I do want to give a shout out to and a little bit of just a congratulations on a job well done to Frank Campbell. He spearheads the fishing industry in Niagara County, and I will tell you that the village of Wilson, the village of Youngstown, the village of Lewiston, they depend on the fishing industry. It is such an important industry for tourism for this region. It's 365 days a year. What else can we do? What can the Chamber do more to encourage fishing industry, not just that industry, but tourism in general for our region? We don't have enough people in our towns and our villages to support business. So we rely on that tourism money to come in. We rely on the visitors from Niagara Falls to find all of our locations, to find Ransomville Speedway, to find the fort, to find our village. What more can we do? And I might put you a little bit on the spot, Frank, but if you can let us know a little bit about what tourism means to the fishing industry and why it's so important. And Susie has the microphone.
Thanks, Jen. As Jen said, I run a fishing charter business here in Lewiston, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, but I'm also the outdoor promotions director at Destination Niagara State and the sport fin coordinator for Niagara County. So I'm in a bunch of different roles. One thing that I can say is tourism, according to a recent economic impact study, Tourism in Niagara County is about a $970 million industry. I believe it's overtaken agriculture as the #1 industry here in Niagara County. So, you know, the people are coming, they're spending. It's, you know, how to get them out in these other areas. As Assemblyman Mornello said, you know, the Discovery Shuttle. Oh my gosh, what a tool. You know, we say that Niagara Falls is there, and we want people to stay longer, do more. It's coming to Lewiston, coming to Youngstown, coming to Wilson, to Alcott, to North Tonawanda, to Lockport. I mean, there's a lot of different things that are available, fishing only being one of them. Through an economic impact study that Destination Niagara and Niagara County undertook last year, we found out that the sport fishing industry is a $58.55 million industry here in Niagara County. So it's pretty significant. And one thing about that is that industry really is centered around the waterfront, obviously, but not so much in Niagara Falls. So this is the opportunity for these outlying areas to really take advantage of tourists coming in. So we're talking about the fishermen that come in. I called it earlier the invisible industry. You know, they're in at 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning fishing before most people are up. They're out in the middle of the afternoon and you never see them. You know, so you'll see them at dinner, you'll see them doing things, but it's really a trickle-down economics. We get people in for charters, for fishing. I think the charter industry of that study was about a $22 million portion of the $58 million. So it's pretty impactful. It's over a third for the small number of charters that we have in the area. It's pretty significant. You know, one thing that I will say that we found out about through the study was that 98% of the people that were you know, that surveyed came back and said they were going to come back to Niagara County fishing. And that tells me a couple things. Number one, it tells me that the fishing's phenomenal. We know we have probably the best sport fishery in the country. But it also tells me that the hotels are doing their jobs, the restaurants are doing their jobs, they're being able to go and go to Tops or go to small shops, pick up stuff. So it's an opportunity in my eyes, an opportunity to, you know, not only grow the industry, which actually doubled in the last 12 years, but also to, you know, find a way for these businesses to, you know, take part of that. It may not only be fishing, it may be anything outdoors. We have a, you know, an up-and-coming disc golf industry in the area, believe it or not. We have one of the top 50 disc golf courses in the country in the town of Lewiston. Also Royalton Ravine, and we have a bunch of that stuff going on. I think that the outdoors is really where there's an opportunity for businesses and areas to grow. And, you know, these tourists will come, a lot of them want to be a lot of them want to be outside, want to be hiking the gorge, want to be going fishing, want to be disc golfing, whatever it may be. So, you know, I can see a bigger push and a great opportunity for businesses to, you know, reach out and find a way to get these people to, you know, come and enjoy what we have. And that's, you know, a lot outside of the city of Niagara Falls. I think that that's a very important part of it, but there's a lot more to offer here in Niagara County.
Thank you. Excellent. Well, anybody else like to contribute to that? We want to be mindful of your time, so it's about 1:45, and at this point, I have a whole page of questions, but what we will do is send them around to you. At this point, I'd love to have our officials, if any of them would like to share some more of the community developments, the community efforts your community is working on, so we can align our resources with them. So if anyone would love to have that opportunity from our town, our village, if you could let us know and give us an update as to you know, things that are happening and where people in this room can align.
Yeah, we do have Porter on the Lake coming up. It's Summerfest. It's always the third week in July, Saturday, July 20th. Two good bands coming in, Artificial Hit and Nashville artist J.B. Aaron. So that's going to be a good time. Hopefully the weather holds out a little bit better. We got a lot of different projects going on, infrastructure and stuff like that. But something I'd like to touch on also with the tourism was I think you just have to think about different things what to do. We were at a ribbon cutting in Youngstown for the doggy daycare. And I talked to Trish there, just talking to her, and I'm like, you ever think about 4 Mile Creek State Park? And at this last meeting last year, I talked to Mr. Maloney from the Sentinel, and he started bringing down 50 extra Sentinels. That took him down to 4 Mile Creek State Park. It's got coupons in there for Lewiston, for Youngstown, anywhere. And they noticed they came to me this year. How come you haven't brought them down? I go, I'll get more of them. We started bringing them back down to them. Hopefully I can have them delivered. But it's just ideas like that. I will go down to 4 Mile, not blowing my horn. I just went down there and I said, hey, can I have this Trish bring down this doggy daycare stuff? And they go, what's she do? She watches dogs. And I said, you know, some of these campers are tying their dog under a shade tree, or they're locked up in a camper, air conditioning running, and they're going to maybe a winery or on a jet boat ride or whatever they go, and they got no place for it. She said, bring them down here. We'd love to talk to them. It gives us advantage. So a new company maybe be able to blossom a little bit more by just thinking about something else to do. I think that's part of business. There's a niche somewhere, and you can help somebody out if you just get the word out a little bit.
Thank you. Any of our other elected leaders? Mayor Rob?
Sorry, Ed. He was closer.
That's fine. A couple of things we have going on is, well, first of all and foremost is a couple of things that I've learned over the last couple of years is that communication is key, right? To communicate and to reach out and build relationships. And that has been a real big focus of mine personally. And I didn't see that before. As a trustee, we were kind of on a raft by ourselves out there in the village of Youngstown. I've been through a lot of villages throughout New York State, traveled throughout New York State, just looked around and they're disappearing and falling apart. They're dirty, things aren't going on, and I don't think they're collaborating. I don't think they're reaching out to their towns. Supervisor Johnson and I have a good relationship. We talk frequently. We're in the town of Porter. But how can we help each other? What can we do? What shared services can we provide for each other? Because we do provide jobs too. We have people that work for the village. We have people that work in the town. And so those things come along. Frank Campbell, we have built a relationship. It's like, what can we do to help with the fishing in the tourist industry? And what can we do? We're 1.2 square miles. That's it. We have 825 tax-paying homes. We got about 820 people. There's another baby boom. There's a lot of young kids, a lot of children. We're a walking village. Sidewalks need to be repaired. Our water lines, our waste lines, the infrastructure needs to be repaired. And it's like, well, where are we going for this? What are we going to do? That's why we need help. We need help from each other and to build those relationships. And we don't have that tax base as some others do. You know, we've got, you know, Rite Aid is gone as of yesterday. That was their last day. And what are they going to do with the building? I don't know. My phone rings off the hook. There's not much I can do personally, but maybe comfort someone. But, you know, it's those sort of things that are a struggle, and different businesses coming and going. So I think the little things matter. You know, it's like, don't sweat the small stuff. We need to sweat the small stuff, because that's really what makes a village thrive, are the little things, like putting in a new water street down by the yacht club. It was a $3 million project that was sat on for a while. We brought it to fruition. It's happening. We're going to put new stairs on the south dock. Believe it or not, a set of stairs, the way they're set up with the platform and the ADA requirements, from up top where it comes off Hinman Street, which gives good parking, that's been all restriped. But the price tag on those new steps is $200,000. And it's part of a grant, which is good, and we have that, but you would never think that those stairs would cost that much. with that, we're doing different projects. We've, a little thing is our splash pad that's been there for years and years and years. It now has an educational theme to it. We had a young lady come in and do a mural and just did a great job, and it was through a grant. We now have Friends of Youngstown, which was founded by Christine Rath, who is a retired global VP who's coming back and is pouring herself back into the village she grew up in. And we had 70 people at our Bikes and Trails informational meeting last Saturday. It was a big deal. We're trying to link this together. We're trying to show Greenway that, hey, we mean business. We're in this. We're the missing link. We don't get the finances. We're not a distressed community. The town, sorry, Doug, but the town of Porter is. So there's a little more Greenway money that comes in there. We don't get that very easily. It's not as generous to us. So we're working on that. We're working to get the trails through there. We're working for Youngstown to be a destination station. We're working with Bob at the Fort to bring to Faulkner Park to bring a water station and through a grant. So there's a lot going on in that little village behind the scenes. And we have the street dance tonight, right? That's a big thing for the village. We have the Griffin that does their brewing down in Youngstown now. I think one of the big sways because of the COVID thing and big changes is restaurants, businesses are open less often. Okay, it's the fact of the matter. It used to be closed on Mondays. Now places are closed on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. And that's becoming a pattern. That's 3 days out of the week. You're talking, that's a third of the month, whatever. So that's retail sales are down, jobs are down, the incomes are down. So I think just working through that and not giving up too soon. I was talking with the folks from our park, and when you have a vision, and we have a vision down there, is don't give up on your vision too soon. Okay, when things get tough, things get hard, just get through the storm. And I know, I don't know John personally, but I can remember when the Niagara Gospel Rescue Mission was started up by Sean Smith. I'm a good friend of Sean Smith's. And I remember the day he came to me and said, hey, I want to start this mission. And we came together, we went over there and scraped the nicotine stalactites off the walls for a long time because you still smoke inside. People were there for 30, 40 years, whatever. So, but those things is happening. That is a great not-for-profit. They're working hard, and so we just want to move forward. And I would say, to finish up with myself, to not keep going here, as far as a village board and with Mayor Welch and with Duffy, we're elected officials every 4 years. Ours is every 2 years we're electing a mayor or trustees. They're part-time positions. A lot of us have full-time jobs. Some do, some don't. But everybody around us assumes we're full-time. So, answering emails and that, and us being cognitive of a new business coming, us not just sitting on our hands. We are an important link in the chain for businesses to get started up, for things to happen and move forward. If we neglect that as elected officials, we're not doing our job for one, and we will deter the economic impact here. So we do provide a great role there. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Susan. Oh, sorry. I just want to say that we just had our Garden Fest, and it was beautiful, and I want you to know that these are volunteers that do this. Every year, they put this festival on, and the Lewiston Beautification, when you drive down Center Street, every flower that you see that's planted, they have done that. They're volunteers. They make our village beautiful and welcoming, and people like those are what we're grateful for, because without them, it wouldn't be such a destination. Everybody I talk to say, oh, we love Lewiston, we love coming there, we love the flowers, we love the festivals. So there's a lot to be said about the volunteers that really do a lot of hard work for our communities.
Thank you. And we're coming right up on the 2-hour mark, so I had a whole bunch more questions to ask, but we're not going to do them today, so that means next year you have to come back for the rest of them. On behalf of the Chamber, I appreciate you giving your input, sharing some of the needs, sharing what some of the opportunities are for our Chamber and our Board of Directors to work towards. We know that it's hard to do business in New York State, but we want to work alongside with you and make sure that you're able to grow and provide the resources. And hopefully you met somebody in the room today that you can partner with or call and lend an ear to and help come up with some solutions. A special thank you to Bella Rose Vineyard and Winery, Joe Sacconi's Chrysler Complex, and Michael Ragusa with Vision Financial Group. This was a great afternoon of conversation, and I really appreciate your support. I appreciate everything that you did to keep the businesses going, so thank you for sponsoring this today. This conversation doesn't have to end. If you